Alright, so, hey friends, welcome to another one. Today I'm on the 8.3 PTR server to show you guys some of the things you might want to look into if you want to progress your character outside of raiding as much as possible, and just be ready for the new raid whenever the content update drops. So, the first thing to look at is the Azeroth neck situation. Because in the new patch, there is a third minor slot, which you can get at rank 75. If you're already level 70, this shouldn't be too hard to get. Should take probably like a couple of weeks of just casual play. And it should be just something you do naturally by doing world quests, islands, raids, usual stuff. So just keep in mind that getting 75 is a fairly substantial increase. For DPS, I think it was like 2 to 3k damage just for the minor slots, and that's a fairly substantial amount, so just keep it in mind. And additionally, there are new essences coming in the new patch. They are maybe not necessary depending on your class if you want to grind them or not. There's one which comes from the reputation, one which comes from the new horrific visions scenario, and one which comes from the new raid. Of course, I would just personally try to get them because you never know what might be good, what might be not good whenever the raid drops. But if these essences are not something you want to pursue, it's not necessary to get them. Getting to 75 should be a fairly substantial increase by itself. But if you want to min-max and be a completionist, why not? They come from the new content anyway, so I really suggest it's worth doing them no matter what. And that's how the neck looks like. The next thing we're going to talk about is corruption. In my opinion, this is the big boy of the patch, and it's definitely the most important thing to take into account as you will be gearing up in 8.3. So, items will no longer be able to Warforge or Titanforge, but instead they will be able to corrupt. When an item corrupts, it gains two things. A random equip effect, which is beneficial to our throughput, and an amount of the corruption stats. So if I were to equip these wrists here, I will get both things. I will get the secondary stat proc, but I also get 15 corruption. When we look at my eye level number, there's this glowing Eye of N'Zoth next to it, which signals that my character now is suffering from corruption. And its corruption is coming in different tiers. The more corruption stat we have, the more negative effects happen to our character. Right now I'm just suffering from grasping tendrils, but if I were to go above 20 corruption, I would also get the Eye of Corruption effect on top of it. So the idea is the more corruption you have, the more deadly it is to your character, especially if you add on top of it things like raid mechanics or dungeon mechanics. There is a way to counter this stat, however, with corruption resistance. The main source of corruption resistance is going to be the Shroud of Resolve that you're going to get when the patch launches. There's going to be a questline when you log in. Keep in mind it takes a while to get, like around 1.5 to 2 hours, but the reward should be worth it because it's a 470 base item at rank 1 with triple secondaries and corruption resistance. You can upgrade this thing to 15 ranks by doing the horrific visions scenario, which we will get into a little bit later. So if I equip my cloak right now, and we go back to my corruption value, we can see that it has become 10 from 15 because of wearing the cloak now. So you can see that if I were to upgrade my cloak to a high enough level, I could wear these wrists without suffering from any negative effects. And that's why, in my opinion, upgrading your cloak should be your #1 priority in the new new patch. It's something you should always think about if you want to progress as far as possible, because of corruption resistance and how important it is. Something to remember for the future, if you will be, gearing up in the new patch, if an item which is corrupted drops for you, do not, I repeat, do not get rid of it. Do not vendor it, do not disenchant, do not cleanse it at all. If you are not able to wear it straight away, just wait until your cloak is high enough level to wear this effect later on. Some of these effects, which can roll on corrupted gear, can be really powerful. You will have to, of course, sim it, but as an example, there is corrupted affix, which grants additional critical hit damage. For fire mages, it used to be worth like 30 to 40 item levels. I'm not sure if this is the case now, but it's definitely much stronger than any 460, 470 item might give me. So keep in mind that corruption effects can be really powerful, and it's something to take into account. So once again, I will repeat this: try to upgrade your cloak as far as you can, so that you can wear more and more corrupted pieces over time, which will make your character, more and more powerful. So, if upgrading your cloak is that important, how do you do it? You start off by completing the Assault content, which is available in Uldum and Vale of Eternal Blossoms. When you zone in there, there's going to be a Fill the Bar quest to just, kill some stuff, and some daily quests on top of it. All of this grants you Coalescing Visions. This is a currency you trade at Rathian, who grants you this vessel that gives you one-time access to the Horrific Vision scenario. Now, by running this scenario, you're going to get a completion chest, which includes an item to upgrade your cloak. Some important things to remember here are that you need to kill the last boss, which is the main objective of the Horrific Vision. If you don't kill the last boss, so if you die or you run out of time, you're not getting the completion chest, so which means you just waste your vessel without gaining anything. So really important, don't pleb out, just kill the boss and get the stuff you need. For the early ranks, I believe up to rank 5, you can only just kill the last boss, do the main objective, and don't bother with doing any extra stuff. I believe as you rank your cloak higher and higher, you will need to do more inside of the Horrific Vision. So maybe at rank 6 or 7, you will have to kill an optional boss and the last boss to get the item which upgrades your cloak further. But in the early days, don't bother with it, just zone in, kill the last boss, get the chest, profit. That's how it works. Something to keep in mind with this Rathian vendor guy is this item here, the Gouged Eye of N'Zoth. So sockets are still able to roll randomly on gear, as far as I know, but there's a way to slowly grind them by buying them using this corrupted memento currency. This is something you will get through the Horrific Vision itself, and by gathering 25,000 of these, you will be able to buy Gouged Eye of N'Zoth, which basically works like Ramaladni's gift from Diablo, so you can just slap it onto a piece of gear and it just creates a socket into it. So very important item to keep in mind if you will be doing the Horrific Visions, later on. So the last thing to talk about are Mythic Plus rewards and how things are changing in the new patch. So the first thing is that Mechagon becomes available in M+ difficulty. It's going to get divided to the Junkyard area with the first 4 bosses and the Workshop with the rest of them. This is important because the loot that comes from Mechagon has some pretty interesting effects, and now these items are getting added to the weekly plus cash loot pool, or they can also drop from end of dungeon chests at potentially heroic Nyloth item level. So the important pieces to note here are the rings, which can be combined to create some, let's say, interesting two-set effects. The rings to note for DPS players especially are the logic loop of division, which gives you a condition if you damage an enemy while you're behind them, and then combining that with either the overclocking bitband, which grants you haste whenever you fulfill the first condition, or the shorting bitband, which deals nature damage to a nearby enemy. It might work in single target, but it definitely works in two target situations, so that's something also to keep in mind. And speaking of rewards and item level, be prepared to start running dungeons at plus 15s instead of plus 10s. Because the maximum reward from the Mythic Plus Cash gets bumped up by 5i level. So instead of, let's say, getting a 470 item from a plus 10 next season, you might be able to get a 475 piece of loot by doing a plus 15. It will be really difficult at start of the patch, but as you get more gear, more corrupted items, you get the third minor slot, it should be easier and easier to get a plus 15 done. So whenever the patch launches, of course, try to do at least a 10 whenever it hits, but try to work your way up to getting a plus 15 done in the weekly as soon as possible, because that's going to give you the maximum item level from now on. And I think that is all as far as this patch goes. I hope I explained everything that is, let's say, necessary to upgrade your character as much as possible, and I hope that this video is going to help you guys prepare for the next raid tier. I think that's all. If you guys have any questions, or if there's anything that I missed and you would like to add, feel free to either message me on Discord or just let the other guildies know in the DPS hall or any other place you might find suitable. And I hope you guys have fun in the next patch, and I'll see you in the next one. So take care and bye!